Yo, yo, yo. Can you
Hello,
hear me?
people.
What's going on? You're supposed to do the little intro. I don't know the intro, man. Mic is muted. 1 minute.
Here we go.
Let's get ready to rumble! He's taken another one, and Howard Foster has stopped it! Wow!
Yes.
Hello.
We finally got there in the end, man. How you doing, bro?
Proper intro.
You know what I mean? A bit all them technical issues and all of that. But what's going on, people? Welcome back to another live edition. Raps on TV. You're going to say to yourself, this is not Tuesday. Yes, we had to dial in for the press conference, Spencer and Danny Garcia press conference. So we couldn't do the show yesterday, but nonetheless, we'll always be doing a show. We've got a few things to talk about this week. Namely, obviously, I think really the Crawford versus Cambell Brook, that clash taking place, £147, and taking place in the States. So yeah, looking forward to getting into that, seeing what potentially the underdog Cambell Brook can or can't do. Obviously, we saw last weekend Devin Haney take on Yokis Gamboa. I see always to chop up that guy's name, but we saw him take on Gamboa for his email WBC belt. So yeah, definitely looking forward to breaking that fight down a bit more. Speaking of the WBC, we've seen that they've now announced and confirmed the Bridgerweight division. So we won't chop that up today, but we will do another show and kind of talk about what that scene will look like, who could be some players in that division. And I think other than that, we've got to talk about that Fury versus Wilder scenario. Fury's come out and said that, Wilder's clearly not going to get a fight with him. And the rumors are Wilder is looking to take Fury not to court, but to a mediator. So stand by and see what happens next. But I'm here as always with the main man, co-host Sam. What's going on, big man?
What's going on, bro? I'm all good. You know what? It feels like a bit of a Sunday, like the aftermath, because last night we had a really, really, really good bit of boxing with boxing last night. I know you were tired to do the Zoom, so we decided to call the show and do it today because we had a split. I wanted to really watch the production with boxing start till finish, and mate, top level production.
Yeah.
It gives. Do you know what? It's really good. I really think it just makes me wonder what it would be like if there were fans in there. They had some really good production, really high quality domestic dust ups, really good fights, and congratulations to Zach Chelly and great performance for shout out to Uncle Don and his fighter for winning Florent Maku, I believe. Zach Chelly completely won the golden robe, obliterated his opponents, and really just showed why he beat Umar Sadiq, bro. Showed what he's about,
I mean, look, Zach Kelly, I have to say, for me, he's kind of he's just a good, solid fighter. I think he's got a skill to him. He's probably more leaning to the brawler side. He's not afraid to kind of stand in the phone box and slug it out. He's got power, so he's got confidence in his power. But I think he's one of those fighters. If you remember in the fight camp, there was a fight that was controversial. I think he got a draw. Really, he won that fight.
Yeah, he did massively.
Right. So I think for him, it was good for him to bounce back. And I say bounce back, but just jump straight back into the gym and enter this tournament. Get a bit of promotion out there. I actually think he's not a dark horse, but I think, you know what? You look at the stables out there. I think if you're an up-and-coming promoter, I'll say the likes of Sam Jones and those kind of guys, he's probably somebody you want to look out for, because if you can sign him up, you never know. Do you know what I mean? If you can match him right, you put some money behind him.
He's going to cause some upsets.
Yeah, bro. I mean, exactly. You said that Umar Sadiq was going into that quite a heavy favourite and kind of got shown. Really.
Yeah, exactly. Not just that, and it's just how he do you know what it is? It's just the confidence he had throughout all of it. Just oozed with confidence. It's kind of not Teofimo level, but the kind of confidence he had and that kind of self-assurance that I am here to stay. And that kind of father-son bond. I think we're going to have to do a little segment on that, like the father-son bonds, because his dad trains him. He's not a senior. His dad trains him and tells him how his dad's always... What's more scary is his dad waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do the runs, which is quite interesting then in comparison to fighting these guys. So congratulations to him. That was a great way to finish the show. Yeah. We're going backwards, actually, because I thought it was that good. We're going back with Maku, Uncle Don's guy. Shout out to him. unbelievable performance. I think he was just vicious,
Yeah.
putting out all the top guys and, the Albanian community. He's really making waves. He's an S-Jam. He's speaking of Sam Jones. He's an S-Jam fighter. And you know what? Future looks bright for him in the welterweight scene. To be honest, if I was Chris Congo, I'll call him out, get in there, shut him down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, Congo's our guy, bro.
Yeah.
Shut him down. Shut.
I mean, I think it'll be an interesting matchup. I think with Marco, he's got a huge fan base. So I think most promoters will probably say, Kenny Janet, what does that do kind of like television-wise in terms of viewership? But I agree with you. I think, look, he's definitely going to bring entertainment. I think he probably will bring eyeballs to whoever sort of promotional company broadcast that.
The guy does 5,000 tickets, bro.
Yeah, he does numbers, bro.
What?
I mean, bro, I went to see him at one of the early boxes last year at the Indigo O2. And
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, even Xhaka turned up. I'm looking up. I'm like, oh, that looks like Granit Xhaka. You know what I mean? It was
crazy. No, he's a big star, and I think S-Jam have done really well to get hold of him. So congrats to him, and he's been calling out Conor Benn. But if I was Conor, bro, we were having this debate last night. I like Conor Benn. I love Ben and the brand, everything he stands for. But I just think Maku could really rough him up. We've seen Conor when Conor gets into tear-ups. He fought, bro. I
mean, that's your styles make fights. Is what you're saying?
No, definitely. But we're looking forward to that. And also, shout out to Lawal from Stony Bridge Boxing Club. I actually heard about his story fully about from the streets of Lagos and coming back. And I've got to support the Nigerian brothers. He's raw, but he's powerful, bro. Powerful and just mean and just really slick. And he's got a really good branding about him, which is what I really like. And he's to watch for on the cruiserweight scene, bro. When Lawrence Okoli and all these guys go up, because I think by the time Lawal's ready to fight at that level, I think all those guys are gone up. So I think it's a good kind of opening for him, as he hasn't got all these pressure fights like how some of the heavyweights and other guys have kind of had because all the people around them, but still got some really big fights. And I think for him, if I was to predict another fight, I would probably want, or a fight I would want to see just to test and gauge the waters, because he fought a bit of a journeyman there, a tough drill. I would like to see him against someone like a Luke Watkins or Wadi Camacho to just kind of gauge where he's at.
Yeah, I think Camacho's out the game, but I agree with you in terms of, you know what it is? I think I'm in that, I'm probably being over harsh now, but I'm in that throw him in the water phase now. I think with COVID, I think there's quite a large sort of portfolio of fighters, even if he stepped in, which I know is not likely because it's so close. But Dion Juma pulled out of the fight against Chris Billam-Smith. Even if he stepped in for something like that, I mean, yes, he probably would be the underdog. But you know what? It's cruiserweight. You got power, have a bit of belief in yourself, and if you fight well and lose, you can still kind of rise within the ranks. So yeah, I think with Duke Watkins, yes, but you know what it is? There's Okoli's leftovers. So I think there's an opportunity now for fighters to go down a different route and actually try to target some of the big dogs and say, okay, we know he would never get Okoli, but imagine Lawal versus Chamberlain, bro.
That's what I'm saying, but I don't think he's ready for a Chamberlain fight yet. I
don't know,
No, I think Chamberlain will find him out. I think Chamberlain's experienced enough to be able to suss him out. Because you've got to be seeing him. This guy has fought, as much as he had a bit of a shit show against Okoli, but obviously he went and said the reasons why he did. Don't forget about his fights with Camacho and showing the heart. And look, he doesn't get knocked down or knocked out. And the only way I could see Lawal beating him is if he gets him on the if he knocks him down. And I think Isaac Chamberlain's too experienced to be able to do that. But that is a great fight. Two Africans, Nigeria versus Congo. Obviously, Nigeria's going to come up on top, But that's another one for the Congolese guys. I'm not trying to fight you lot, but
we'll have to leave that for another day. But no, I definitely agree with you. I think look, in terms of the box, I got to shout out the man Savage Dan, who joined us a couple of weeks back. Yeah, he was doing the hosting for the Boxer Show. I think he done a good job. So look forward to seeing him. Bro. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look forward to seeing him on more boxing platforms. So, bro, I think there's no better place to start. As much, I thought, you know what? Let's get it out of the way actually, because I wasn't massively impressed. I've got to say, I wasn't massively impressed. But your man Devin Haney is still. It says
the dream, bro.
It says the WBC World Lightweight Champion. It should say WBC World Email Lightweight Champion.
Oh, coach, man, why are you killing my guy? The dream.
You got to put the email. You can't drop the email when your first defense is against Gamboa, bro. And Gamboa looked old in that fight, bro.
Yeah, no, he did. But ultimately, you know what? Haney did his fit. He did what he needed to do. Ultimately, he needed to make a statement. There was pressure to what he was talking, but let's just say he didn't say and talk all that talk. We would have said, you know what, decent performance for Haney. But he has spoken. He has been. That's what happens when you talk a big game, and you've had guys like Tiafimo and Tank get into it and just really show and actually talk and speak everything into existence. You know, so ultimately, it's such an unbelievable. Unacceptable performance, not unbelievable. Unacceptable performance, below par for Devin Haney. But look, he got the W. He showed his dribble. He showed off some skills. He showed some Floyd S. Seals with the slip moves and working inside. He shows he's comfortable slipping and sliding in the inside. So, you know, I'm looking forward to whatever dust up he has going forward, you know. It wasn't the knockout, because if we got the knockout now and stopped him, we would have been saying, look, we're looking forward to seeing it. And, you know, but do you know what I'm more gutted about? Which we're going to get on? Cambell and Garcia.
I'm saying, bro. Another person that's stepping up as well.
Complete madness. Complete madness.
I mean, bro, what are you saying about that fight? Let's be real.
What? Luke Campbell Garcia? Yeah. I think, you know what, that's Luke Campbell's time to shine and show he's more than a little TikTok and Gymshark athlete. You know, because as much as those fans are good, like, he hasn't really proven himself in the game besides having a great amateur pedigree. And we've seen that amateur pedigrees don't mean anything really in the pros. It does give you a recognition, but it doesn't mean anything in the pros. Like last night, even at Boxer, going back to that, there was an amateur, Harry Woods, who had like an England level kind of, he's had an England and amateur ranking. He got found out by a 34-year-old guy who's, you know, last chance saloon. So doesn't mean anything. Ryan Garcia now, quick, slick, great brand, great fan base, but can he box in the pro? That's my big question. Against Luke Campbell, guy from UK, gold medalist, knows what he's doing, knows how to move, been in there with top guys, tackled Linares, didn't win, but, you know, he's able to get in there and mix it with those guys. I think Luke is kind of in Luke's favor, but anything can happen in this COVID bubble, man.
I mean, I would say, you know what? I think this is where we might differ. I actually think Garcia is going to cause him problems if they can get that fight going. I'm starting to think, and I'm not saying it like this. Well, we've not seen anything, but I think with Garcia, I think with the whole persona, the golden boy linkage, and the whole Instagram, social media stuff, I think we kind of disrespect. I would say disrespect him, but we take the piss out of him, like we troll him. But I actually think he's a good fighter, and I think back to one of the fights he fought where he stopped the guy early, first or second round, and I was slightly impressed with how he put his punches together. And I would also give him credit for taking the Luke Campbell fight. Yes, it's in the States. I think he would have taken it here as well. Obviously money. But I think even taking on someone like Luke Campbell, of course, Tank is done the biggest one. But I think for Ryan Garcia, he's making his pathway up. You know, he doesn't have any belts. You know, he's not even an international champion. I think Campbell's a good test. I think Campbell's a good, solid test for him. So I can't wait for that fight, bro.
But to recover from COVID, bro, let's not be. I don't believe when they said it's going to be pushed back for a month extra. Like, it takes a
one, innit?
COVID. Once you've had COVID, it's very difficult. Like, I don't even think Povetkin is going to be. I think that fight's. I think Dillian's very lucky if he gets that fight in January. And if he does, and Povetkin's just taking it for a payday, he's going to steam through him, because to recover from COVID from athletes' perspectives, and I've heard it, it takes a long, long time for them to get back to fitness. And this is kind of cardiovascular, but imagine kind of fighting and using that kind of energy in what you do.
I mean, that's the thing, right? And obviously it's totally not the same, but it's like you hear of people that have just had it and they seem to have just gotten with their normal life, but they weren't doing the same physical endurance as you mentioned as a boxer. So yeah, I don't know. I think we're gonna have to wait and see. Should he wait for him? I think they have to assess it. You know, in a maybe a month's time, as you said, assess the situation, and if it looks very unlikely that he's going to be able to come back soon, then Garcia's going to have to move on. I mean, who could he move on to next though? That's the real challenge.
I would say maybe Jorge Linares if he's up for fighting, because there was talk about him. Him
and Abdulmares as well.
Abdulmares.
Yeah.
Abdulmares, our guy, I called in on the show a few times. I think that would be a good fight for Abdulmares, really, but Ryan Garcia's team ain't going to take that.
I think they would take that, bro. Especially with
Abdulmares is a bad man, He's not.
I know, and the thing is, he's a tough guy. But again, I think they would. I think they would take that fight, bro. I think they see that because that will really kind of like take them to the next level as well. I don't think they would shirk from that fight. I got to be real with you, bro. I could see them trying to make that fight.
Actually, do you know what? That makes sense, because if he does take it, he's in that same talk of Tank and all that, because Santa Cruz beat Abdulmares.
Exactly. So, Tank when Abner was supposed to fight, if you remember, before Gamboa stepped in.
Bro, the lightweight scenes, that smaller weight scene's back, man. Like, it's not about heavyweights no more. Back. It's really got some big stars there.
Yeah. And for sure, like you say, I think you are right. There's names that are coming up now, and people are like, all right, you know what, there's more of an interest here. So, yeah, I think, right, and I'm not going to lie to you, bro. I feel like Ryan Garcia will kind of fight anybody. Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is I've seen about him, but I just feel, you know what? If he would be allowed to, I think he would. I think he's got that confidence in himself. He's got that belief. Not saying he's going to win, but I think he doesn't look at any of these guys and think, oh, they're much better than him. And I think he's also got his amateur confidence from his amateur days. You know what I mean? He was a solid amateur. So yeah, I don't think he's going to be scared of these guys at all. But yeah, moving on from that, I think there's no other place to start other than the main Crawford taking on Brook.
Browners.
We're all going to be eagerly anticipating on Premier Sports TV. Check out how you can log in. I think it's a month subscription, so you're going to have to sign up for a month and then cancel straight after. Bro, I'm going to ask you a question in regards to Brook, because it looks like he's in shape. You think
he looks good?
Do you think Brook has got the power to trouble Crawford?
I haven't seen Brook do a madness for a while since he fought. Since not Sean Porter, but his defense against is it Bizier or Tizier?
Bizier, Dan Bizier. Back.
Bizier, yeah. I haven't really seen him have punch power. I didn't really rate his punch power until I saw that. And to be honest, he didn't trouble Spence. He didn't trouble Golovkin. Mm-hmm. He didn't trouble any of these guys in terms of like what he's capable of. So no, I don't think so. I think Crawford's gonna really get the dog in him and really hurt him. But I feel like Kell Brook's pride's on the line, because he's trying to do. He's you know how everyone says he's in Khan's shadows and whatnot. He's not trying to embarrass like how Khan got embarrassed. He's trying to really stick it to him. And if this is his last bout, he wants to go out fighting. And I think he's done if he doesn't win this fight.
Yeah.
I think he's absolutely done. But in terms of your question about the power, no. I think if anything, he should be very, very careful about Crawford's power. Considering he's done. Yeah,
bro. I mean, I gotta say, bro, like that's where I'm leaning towards. I'm going to be honest. I've always, I mean, we all like Terence Crawford. I think it's hard to say you can't like him, what he brings to the table as a boxer. You know, coming through the weights, orthodox, southpaw. You know, it's a real switch it up, adjust throughout the game, throughout a fight. Mean spirited, doesn't back down. You look at any sort of confrontation he's had with whoever, he's never backed down. And again, before the Khan fight, I was worried for Khan. And then when he got knocked down in the first round, I was like, wow, it's going to be a long night.
Bro,
I'm a bit worried for Brook, and not in the sense of
trust.
I think Brook gives the illusion that he's in the fight, because I think for the first probably 5 rounds, it might be a little bit of a chess match, or you know, Brook might land some big shots. But I do feel between rounds 6 and 10, I think Brook's really just gonna like realize not only levels, because I do think Brook is a level, as Crawford is a level above him. But I think it's going to be the what's going to probably surprise him is the doggedness, because Crawford isn't quite scared of going in the inside as well, and I think he's really going to look to get in the inside of Brook and throw some dangerous shots.
No, 100%, bro. But let's look at, I don't know if you got the record up, but let's look at his last record. Do you know, for me, I realized Crawford, I knew Crawford was a bad man, but
I think got his,
if you look at the kind of fights he's actually had, the past 5 or 6 fights, let's break it down now. Let's do Raps on TV technical. He's had all his fights have been.
I mean, the thing is, the problem is, yes, you're right, but don't forget he fought Mean Machine. That wasn't great.
But bro, look what he did to Ndongo.
I know, different. But I agree. I mean, look, that's why I say Crawford is a monster, bro. He's a dog.
Just remember, Ricky Burns was struggling with this guy. I know you can't compare Ricky Burns. I know you can't compare Burns to the level, but he's a world champion. He's a world contender. He's here. Ndongo was a bad man. Ndongo was one. Everyone in Africa was raving about him, and look what Crawford did to him.
And not even that is one thing, bro. And that you're totally right with the Ndongo. I would go further and say Postal, because Postal came in Ukrainian. It was that whole Ukrainian wave, Eastern European wave. He was undefeated. I think he just beat somebody quite comprehensively. I can't remember the guy's name. But yeah, I remember he fought him. It was undefeated, and Crawford just smoked him. Matisse, he beat Postal had beat Matisse. And he just smoked him, bro. Like he gave him too much. So when we do the side by sides, I mean, you look at it. What's interesting is the age, bro. Both 33, Crawford, 34, Brook. But I feel like Brook has got a higher mileage on the body, bro.
Yeah, come on, broken eye sockets. That's good. Don't forget, he nearly lost his leg. Like he's had so many kind of. I think he should just. After this fight, I think he should pack it in, bless it with Eddie, become a Sky Sports pundit, be a coach, do that whole kind of lifestyle. Because, bro, he's got the branding too. He's like, in terms of Sky would take, if he patches up with Hearn, Sky will take him in a heartbeat.
Thing is, I don't even think they will. Unless this Khan fight can get materialized, it's unlikely.
Bro, I think Khan, if they both lose, I think Khan will happen. That's why I still just want to see it, because these brothers hate each other. If the bag is enough, so if there's a Saudi fight or if the Saudi card or whatever.
But right now, I think just general interest, people will take it, bro. Like those two are the tail ends of their careers with big losses. Like Canelo, Golovkin, both potentially lose to Brook.
Right. Amir Khan's gearing himself up to be. Amir Khan's gearing himself up to be in the business world of boxing, bro. You see what he's doing in the Middle East.
Yeah, I mean that's not a surprise. He's always had, he's always been astute. So, yeah, bro, for real. So listen, this I'm looking at the time. I'm thinking it's a Wednesday night, so we don't want to keep people too long. So let's open up the lines. We're going to come out to our resident supporter, Mr. Appiah. Hope we get you through first time. Hello.
Yeah, we're doing, fellas.
We're doing good. How you doing?
Yeah, all good.
Good. What's on your mind, bro?
Yeah, just wanted to go on and talk about something a little bit different to what you gentlemen were talking about.
No worries.
Billy Joe Saunders is fighting Murray, isn't he?
Yes. Martin Murray.
Well, I thought Murray retired for some reason. I swear he retired. I thought he had retired last year sometime. Or maybe it's just me. But what do you think of that fight? I mean, it was meant to fight a couple times a couple years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think? What's
Sam, I'll let you go. Do you want to?
Bro, do you know what I think of? I think Martin. I don't really follow Martin Murray. I didn't think. I felt it went off the radar. But in terms of Billy Joe Saunders, I just don't think he should be fighting someone like a Martin Murray who's lost, I believe, 5 or 6 times. 5 times, I'd say. He's lost 5 times. And when I got put off of Martin Murray was when he fought Gabriel Rosado, who's now fighting Jacobs, yeah,
in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, when I saw that, after that, and I saw how badly Rosado was robbed, I just thought it just put me off Martin Murray because he was so entitled and felt that he was that good and he won. And to me, since then, I've just kind of fallen off him from there and just kind of not really paid too much attention to his career. But I think this is another tune-up for Billy Joe Saunders. And it's like, brother, we love you. We want to see you fight. We want to have these good fights with you. There's always something that gets in the way of your career of doing this. Now, why is it when you're fit and healthy? Why are you taking these tune-up fights? Like, you're Billy Joe. You're the Gypsy Prince. You're the guy.
Yeah.
Why are you taking these fights, you know?
It's frustrating, isn't it, Sam? It's frustrating, isn't it, Sam? Don't you think it's frustrating? I kind of get where you're coming from because, like, as Kojo will probably tell you, I'm a man. I rate Billy Joe as a fighter. I think really, really good fighter. But it's frustrating with him because, you know, like, when he schooled Lemieux about 3 years ago now.
Whoa, Lemieux!
Just waiting for him to kick on, you know what I mean? Waiting for him to win. You want to see him in big fights. You want to see him in, well, obviously Golovkin's passing. You want to see him against the Golovkin, the Canelos. You want to see him doing his thing against guys of that ilk. You want to see him, but he just doesn't, for some reason, I don't know, something just gets in the way and it's like, back to square one, and now he's fighting Martin Murray.
What are you playing at? It's disappointing because this is what I'm saying. He's no different to a Eubank in a way. Then I don't think Billy Joe's got the Eubank in a way because Eubank stepped up to the plate. He's had balls, bro. He fought George Groves, realized he needed a trainer, someone to really support him, get him to the level, and now he's working with Roy Jones Jr. But for me, it's like, I care about your career, but I don't really want to see it anymore unless I hear like you're fighting Canelo, you're fighting Callum Smith. Because I don't want to hear that, we're fighting is confirmed and then talks to break down. I don't want to hear that anymore. Either you fight or I don't want to hear from you.
Yeah, I do understand where you're coming from, Sam. I do, honestly. I do. You wait for these guys to kick on and nothing happens. They give it all the chat and all this, and then nothing happens. And you just think, you know what? Let's move on to guys who are a bit fresher and want to do something. They're ambitious and want to get out there and do the business. Do you know what I mean?
No, 100%, Dan, man. No, great point. Before we go, I want to get your picks on the Crawford versus Brook clash. How do you see that fight going down?
Listen, I can only see one winner, mate, and that is Crawford.
Yeah.
I don't see Brook getting anything out of that fight. Crawford, fantastic fighter. I really do think. Listen, I'm not going to go on too much because I ain't got too much time, but I don't want to take up the whole show. But I mean, Crawford, brilliant fighter. I mean, honestly, Brook, no chance. And Spence don't want it with Crawford, does he? You know what I mean? He didn't really, like, all these guys don't really want it with Terence Crawford. You know, and Brook's got balls and stepping in with Crawford, but I think Crawford stops him. Yeah, I think Crawford stops him.
Yeah, cool. All right, I appreciate the support as always, Dan. We got your pick noted, so appreciate the support and catch up next week, brother.
Yeah, no doubt. Cheers, fellas.
Cheers.
Have a good one.
Cheers.
Nice
Thank
one.
you, man.
Take care. Yeah,
cheers. Thanks. Going out to 252. 252.
Evening, gents. Ring Raps in the building.
What's going on, Ring Raps?
Ring Raps.
How we doing, chaps? Loving the show, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Where are we kicking off?
Where do you want to kick off?
Let's continue on from the last caller with the big fight this week, Crawford and Brook.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they say time is everything, innit? And like Billy Joe, Kell Brook, the timing in his career has just been a bit dubious or unfortunate, depending which way you look at it. Now, obviously, he's been in there with some of the best of the generation, and he's been in there with Golovkin. He should never have been in there with Golovkin. He was in there with Spence. I had him winning the fight against Spence until his eye got broke. Having said all of that, things I want to take away from the recent fallouts, and when I say fallouts, I don't mean falling out with Eddie per se. I mean the fact that he ain't got Dominic in his corner. That's a bigger issue for me, man. I mean, I don't know. Without trying to get too involved in the nitty gritties, just seeing what that does to him on a tactical, technical level.
Yeah.
You're in there with. Look, Kamil Lomachenko's got the best footwork on the planet, but for me, Terence Crawford is the best fighter on the planet. Bar none. I think Crawford, again, timing. It's been unfortunate. He's been with the wrong team with top rank. It is what it is. Apparently, that's coming up to renewal in a few months. So keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
He hasn't had the dance partners at 147, right? I think he beats Brook handily. However, the couple of things that are working for Brook, if he's on his A game, right? One, he's a naturally bigger man. We know he's got a brilliant jab. We know his head movement's good. We know he carries power. The problem is, as you guys said earlier, he's got quite a lot of mileage on the clock, Kell Brook. And another thing, man, he just seems to always cut too late, man. Like the weight, that is, because he's so big at the weight. And it must just take it out of him on fight night. Like he looks all good looking, shredded and that. But when you come back in and you've just rehydrated, and you're going in there against the guy you can switch for fun.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Like, I always try and look at where I can get some value on a little bet on it, right? So the obvious answer would be for the fight not to go the distance. Now, that isn't me saying that Crawford's easily going to knock him out. I'm not saying that, no. But I think he can TKO him from mid to end anytime he feels like it. However, I wouldn't be surprised if both of them went down, even if it was a flash knockdown. Because Crawford's a bit like Tyson Fury in the sense that sometimes you need to smack in the mouth to really step up the gears.
Yeah.
You know, against Cambell, it's like,
Exactly.
he didn't call that knockdown. Can we all be honest, guys? That was a knockdown.
That was a knockdown.
Yeah.
I mean, he more or less said it himself as well. Yeah.
Okay. Like, even when I watched the ESPN documentary this week with their
Andre
guys
Ward.
and Andre Ward, and that, it was an amazing documentary. But so, look, Terence Crawford, all day, every day. I think, unlike the last caller, I do think as grown men who are the best in the division, obviously Crawford's older than Spence, but after Spence's recent near-death experience, I think he's so focused now. I think they do want each other. I think the timing's got to be right. I think he's going to come out and be top-ranked contract maybe in the next 6 months. So I think Kell Brook, who knows, is this a career retirement paycheck? That's why he hasn't got any high earners on his books for this one, i.e. Dominic.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
good point.
That's my 2 pennies on that, man. I wouldn't be surprised though if he roughed Crawford up and then Crawford got nasty.
Yeah.
I was in the casino watching who's the Mexican kid who's been shot in the leg? Benavides.
Yeah.
The really tall guy.
He knocked him out in the 12th or 11th.
Bro, there was I think there was 18 seconds left in the fight.
Yeah.
My point is, Crawford went for the knockout still.
Trust me. That's the
He's
thing.
a dog. You see Crawford. If you take any boxer in the game, I put them in a street fight. Bro, Crawford's your guy, you know.
Yeah, trust me.
Crawford's your guy. He is real. I'm talking like in America they call it corn-fed, isn't it, when you're hard. Like, he's from Omaha, Nebraska. He is corn-fed, bro. That guy is tough.
Big time.
Physically, spiritually, technically, tactically. Nah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see a launch pad to move on to bigger and better things. Yeah,
I think I 100% agree with you on that. And I think that launch pad is only going in one direction, and that's the table, because that's where all the fights for him are. So, no, great point.
Do you see a straightforward thing? You think he's just going to, I don't say jump ship, but obviously, like, Bob can't get the fight through because of the politics. You think he's going to stroll over there in a couple of months when he's done?
I think he doesn't really have a choice.
Yeah. Where does he go?
Guys,
yeah.
I don't want to hog the phone. Can I just give my quick synopsis on Devin Haney's performance?
Yeah, all right, go for it.
Go for it, bro.
He was very slick. He's a smooth operator. But to kind of borrow an analogy that Teofimo made when he beat Loma, these other young stars, especially because he's being kind of co-trained by Floyd, Devin, that is, they're trying to be like Floyd Money Mayweather. They want to be too careful, calculated, low risk in the ring, But as Teofimo said, you've got to be pretty boy Floyd before you could be Money May.
Yeah.
Now, bro, if we're talking technically, there's nothing I can say about his performance this bout. Nothing. But two things highlighted to me. He don't carry power.
Yeah.
He ain't strong. He ain't got a bang. And what he said in the lobby after the fight, he said, talking about Tank and Teofimo, he went, look at those guys' faces post-fight and look at mine.
Yes.
And I'm like,
that means nothing.
Bro, like, you got it, all right, that's like a smug kind of like matter of fact. Oh yeah, but kind of mentality. I'm like, you're way too young to be thinking that political. Yeah. Like, you're 21, bro. Canelo went in with Floyd when he was around that age.
Good point.
Like, you got to risk it for a biscuit. Like, come on, man. Like, but you know what, bro? I'll be real. Devin's way at the back of the queue now. As far as intrigue. I'll be honest, bro. I'll be honest. I'm going to say it.
Yeah, no.
Might be a little bit of a hype job. Might be. I don't mean he's not technically sound. I'm just saying how good he is as a package. They might have made a bit too much of all those fights he had in Mexico.
Yeah. I mean, I think the good thing with him is now that we're going into 2021, I think there's really no hiding place for him. I think everybody will be calling him out. I don't think any of the guys will be afraid to face him. So I think he has to really step up.
Good news.
Yeah.
That is the good news because where we didn't see no power.
Yeah.
But let's be real, Gamboa was a legend, yeah.
But it was old. You look like an old man.
Old man.
Yeah.
Oh, Rusty. Do you know what? It was when I started realizing it was when Haney was slipping in the pocket, just doing the slick encounters and that. I thought the old Gamboa, the young fit Gamboa, would have been able to just take, just really rough him up. But
exactly. But listen, ring raps, we're gonna have to move on. But just before we go, your prediction for the Crawford, Brook Crawford fight? Crawford Brook?
Potentially both guys hit the canvas, but Crawford finishes in TKO round 7 to 11.
No, thank you very much. Appreciate the support as
cheers,
always.
brother.
Take care. Big up. Yep. So we're now moving on. I want to say that's Uncle, our favorite, Nostradamus.
Hello.
Yes, say Uncle. How you doing?
Uncle.
How you doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good. How's
your favorite uncle, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What's on your mind?
Really well with prediction because I got Joe Biden right as well.
At least don't talk to me about no politics.
So up to you guys. What do you want to talk about, or what do you want to ask me?
Let Sam you go. No, Sam you go.
Uncle, what do you think of Boxer, the brand Boxer? Because obviously our good friend, our good uncle Don Charles had Maku on there. What do you think of the whole production? Is it wave of promotion?
To be honest, I haven't actually looked at that.
Okay.
We got you there. Okay. So I will move on.
I haven't got my prep this week, so I'll get back to you on that.
No worries. It was only last fight anyway. But Brook versus Crawford then.
Crawford versus Brook.
Yes.
I find this an interesting one. I heard what the two other gentlemen said. What I do think, though, is there's some key things we need to look out for. I think this is going to be Crawford's toughest fight to date at welterweight. I'm a big admirer of Terence Bud Crawford, but unfortunately, he has not been able to fight the top guy welterweight because it's with Top Rank and they're all on the PBC side.
Yeah.
One or two things I did not like in his last couple of fights was I thought he was a big floppy by his own standards against Amir Khan. I think basically because he hurt Khan in the first round, put him down.
Yeah.
He lost a bit of foot because he was too eager to get Khan out of there, who was in survival mode. And I hate to say this, but as we all know, let's be honest, Khan quit. Yes, Amir, if you're listening to this, Amir Queen Khan, you quit. Okay? And I don't like to say that about boxers, but I do think he quit. Kell Brook, in terms of, is a big welterweight. He's a big physical welterweight. So I like to see how we handle Brook's physicality and size. And another key thing is that Brook, once he makes the weight, he doesn't have to worry anymore about any rehydration like under the IBS.
he can fully rehydrate.
Mm-hmm.
So that's obviously good for Brook. Now the issue is, are there too many mouths on the clock? And I don't think it's really a case of mouths. It's just he got shellacked eventually against Triple G, but he was doing well, and some people felt he was doing well against Spence as well, though I knew my boy Errol would win the fight. So I think it's a good fight. It will tell us more. The expectation is Terence Crawford is pound for pound the best fighter in the world, and he should win. But I do think he will have some problems if we have a good Brook, which is the question. Is there still a good Brook there?
I mean, this is an intangible, Uncle. But what I think is probably going in Brook's favour is he's had the chance and the time to kind of settle at 147. He's probably not had to do one of those, like fast track extreme training camps. I think he's probably been able to make the weight comfortably. I think the IBF point is a very solid point, because I think that helps him do that. I think in turn, when I say that, for me, I think that IBF clause, which is good, probably went against Brook, because he always looked too skinny when he got onto the weights, onto the scales. And then I also feel that maybe, and this is a long shot for him, but I think if he can tap into the mentality he had when he went into the Sean Porter fight, because if you think back then, he went into the US, he didn't really have much of a fan base following him. Yes, he had Eddie Hearn, but there weren't tons of guys there, and he just went in and was able to perform to a high level. Let's be fair. So, yeah, I think if he can tap into that, I think he's not stands a chance, but I think he gives himself his best shot. But I think we just need to, like you, I think we need to see the best Brook.
I mean, one thing, before people think maybe we're going crazy saying that, but if you turn the clock back, let's say several years ago, when Brook was undefeated, and when he's beating Sean Porter, and you matched him up against Terence Crawford then, you probably might have had Brook a favorite, because Terence was moving up 2 weight divisions.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that yes, Crawford is rightly favorite. I mean, but I don't think this is a fight you can overlook Brook in. So what about you guys? Want to ask me about Spence Garcia?
I didn't really ask. We haven't mentioned that, but
you see my name.
Angel.
Using expletive, but that's a fight I'm really looking forward to. Both guys, both Errol Spence Jr. and Daniel Swift Garcia, who's a fighter I've had to study a lot, because at one stage a guy I managed was going to go up against Danny. And I always say this thing about Danny. Danny is a guy who is, at the same time, is easy to underestimate and also easy to overestimate. He's a real good fighter, he's a hard man. But I think Errol Spence is the truth. So I'm really looking really looking forward to that, I must say. And I think Errol Spence may have arguably the best trainer in the world right now.
No, he's
Eric James.
Yeah, definitely a focus coach. I mean, one thing again, we're talking of optics here, but one thing that for me I was impressed with is that Errol Spence looked like he was in good shape on that press conference. Like he wasn't even really slurring his words. He seemed like he's not far from weight. He just looked lean but solid. I was impressed.
And one of the important things is I do think, and he's going to need to be in good shape and at his best against Garcia. In fact, both guys are going to need to be at their best, because if you're slightly off, the other guy can take it.
Yeah.
Now, I hear that Devin Haney has been getting a bit of slack.
Yeah, I think deservedly so.
Yeah.
Well, my view, I mean, I do agree with one thing that I think it was Mr. Abia said earlier,
Yeah,
and Teofimo Lopez said,
yeah,
you know, until Haney goes and beats Teofimo Lopez or wins one of these lightweight world titles properly,
yeah,
we're going to have to view him as a two-time email champion.
exactly.
Call me an old-timer, period. But
Yeah,
I like winning the title in the ring. I like winning the win, especially I know with the digital age.
exactly. Yeah.
So he's so talented. I'm not surprised he didn't knock out Gamboa because Gamboa is not what he used to be, but Gamboa is not exactly a punk or anything. But I do, you know, I like to see him in there with the top guys. But the problem we're having these days is we're having young fighters who haven't won titles, becoming WBC email champion of the world, and you've been Instagram champion. What's his name, right?
Ryan Garcia. Yeah.
You know, yeah, they're talented, but let them at least win it in the ring before. And please, you know, if they want Garcia to, you know, have a good career, the only warning I'm going to say is keep him away from Sam Davis, because if you have that fight, I don't think Garcia is going to have any kind of career.
Yeah. Okay. The uncle has spoken. So, uncle, last before we go, your prediction on Crawford Brook final.
Oh, I was hoping to
avoid it. No.
I was hoping to avoid that. I think. I'm going to go for Terence Crawford with a late knockout or decision win. But don't be surprised if Terence Crawford gets clicked and put on the deck at some stage.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. So listen, uncle, thank you again for your call and your comment. Always appreciate the short support.
Keep up the good work, guys.
Cheers, thank you. So going up to 488. The floor is yours. Hello.
Hey, Coach J. Sam, how's it going? It's Dave Joe. How about you? Okay.
Yes.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, good fellas. Good. Just watching the MTK card on IFL.
Oh yeah, of course. I forgot about that.
Yeah, most people have, to be fair. But yeah, just one of the guys that I know has had a defeat, so a bit gutted for it. But let's see if he comes back. I'm sure he will.
That's the game. That's the story.
So yeah, so just going on to the main topic then, fellas, with Brook versus Crawford.
Yeah.
Hart saying, "I want Brook to win." He looks shredded. He looks the part. They're about the same age. Same number of knockouts, 2 losses on his record. Terence Crawford hasn't fought since 2012. We're almost approaching a year, aren't we? Brook, the fresher out of the two. I really want Brook to win convincingly, and I want to be proven wrong. But my head is saying it's surely going to be a Crawford victory. But I want to be proven wrong. I think how good would that be though for not just British boxing, but just what a turnaround story, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you, Dave. I agree with
you.
No, I agree with you. I think that could be that's a great story for British boxing, but ultimately, in terms of, I just can't get. What do you make of the whole falling out though? Because we haven't really caught up for a while. What do you make of the falling out between Brook and Eddie? Do you? I think from the outside, I think it's more Brook's fault, but.
Yeah, it's really interesting this, because if we sort of cast our minds back, there was an alleged sort of falling out when Brook fought the Rafa, didn't he, in 2000 and I want to say back into 2018.
Okay.
Yeah. When there's no Dominic Ingle there, Eddie Hearn was still in the picture though. And again, is it a falling out or is he training other fighters? But I can't see any other fighters that are having fights this time of year in Dominic Ingall's camp. I mean, I know Liam Williams is potentially going to be fighting soon. He's vacated the title. You've got Billy Joe Saunders. There's Martin Murray. That's going to be happening. But this is Brook's biggest fight of his life on paper, isn't it? The biggest fight against the undisputed champion, even though he's vacated one of the belts, hasn't he? But when he fought Julius Ndongo, that was a great night for Terence Crawford. So we're talking about the biggest night of Kell Brook's career, and he hasn't got Dominic Ingle there. Eddie Hearn, you guys have watched the interview on IFL. Both very heated words, weren't they? One from Brook and the other from Eddie Hearn. But it's interesting. I mean, maybe this will be published in another book in a few years' time, but I don't know what to make of this, if I'm being honest. What are your honest thoughts? Do you think definitely there is a split in the camp?
Yeah, 100%. 100%, mate. I think there's a massive split in the camp, because you've got to look at it this way. Eddie Hearn is probably Kell Brook's biggest advocate. He's stuck through Kell through thick and thin. And I'm not just saying this because of IFL, because even before then, I used to think, why is he always promoting Kell when Kell's not washed up, but he wasn't really doing much since, the Sean Porter fight. And he'd been protecting him, and everyone used to question why the IBF, he never defended his IBF. What was the reason why he's not defending? Why is he always getting these other voluntaries or getting exemptions from the IBF? And then he gets in there with Golovkin. Then he's forced his hand to then fight against Errol Spence. And, I think Eddie held his hand for a lot of it. And later in that interview, he then said that, there were certain fights which Kell Brook didn't want to take because he didn't train and he wasn't up. And he protected him for that. So because the fact he turned his back on him, he's now saying, look, I've done all of this and this is my fact. I try and tell you, you don't want to put me involved in any negotiation. Go behind my back when I didn't have to be loyal to you. So from that perspective, I think it is a massive thing with Kell Brook being frustrated. I think he's used to being top dog all the time, and then he used to be Eddie Hearn's biggest draw. And now Eddie and Dom, are getting other attention. I think it's not a jealousy thing, but it's a kind of, not letting go and not accepting that your time is now coming towards an end. But what do I know?
That's a good summing up of this. I mean, these series of events, these mad series of events. I mean, if you think about it as well, loyalties and everything else. Kell Brook was one of the first sort of, I wouldn't say matchroom fighters, but one of Eddie's sort of stable. Darren Barker, Paul Frotch, part of that sort of stable. And if you think about it, that revolutionised again what we're watching now on British TV, right, in terms of British boxing on TV. So.
Yeah.
I mean, the old saying, don't you? When if you want loyalty, you buy a dog, don't you?
Exactly.
And it sounds really harsh. I wanted to do the business side. If I'm being honest, I wanted to win convincingly. What a fitting edge, but I can't see it happening. I want to be proven wrong. But this year has been the year of upsets. With Teofimo Lopez beating Lomas, even though you picked that one, Sam.
Yeah.
So most people did say that he would be winning victoriously, and Teofimo's time will come again. So let's see what happens on Saturday night. And big up to you guys for doing what you're doing as well.
Exactly, bro. Before you go, it's going to be two things, but the first one will be Denzel Bentley versus Mark Efron. That fight is taking place again this Friday. What's your thoughts on that? How do you think? You think we're going to get a definitive winner this time?
Yes, I'm going to go for Denzel Bentley by stoppage on this one, or TKO.
Okay.
He's floored Mark Efron. He's with a nice shot when he switched southpaw. I think the game plan now, looking at Denzel Bentley, what he can do, seeing him train without being totally biased. But knowing what he's about, I'm going to go for Denzel Bentley by stopping. That's what I want as well, to be fair.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
No, good one. And so just before we go, just to confirm your pick for Crawford versus Brook, you are going with Crawford, even if it is through
Crawford by late stoppage, like your other colleague.
Yeah.
Sorry, your other caller. So definitely by stoppage. What are you guys going for? Have you given your picture?
No, actually. So, and you're the last question we're going to do it. Sam, you want to go? Give your.
Do you know what? Crawford's just too much of a dog, man. After how Kell's behaved, no, I don't think he deserves a win. But I just think when you're turning against your team, I think there's a sense of delusion that goes in your head. And I just think Crawford's just very headstrong and knows what he's doing. He's just been there. He's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Knockout.
I mean, and I've got to say, for myself, I'm going also with Crawford. I think he's going to stop him anywhere between sort of 7 and 10. I think the first few rounds will be, when I say tough, I think he'll give us some good action. But I just think you'll start to see a bit of a gap. And I think because Crawford's I'm going to say he's just a bastard. He's a horrible bastard. I think when he smells blood, I think he's going to really, really go for Brook. And I think Brook maybe being out of the ring at a high level for a while, it could be telling, because we're talking about elite fighters now. So your stamina needs to be in check. Your nutrition needs to be in check. And Crawford is a guy that stays on weight. He's what they call a gym rat. So I think I see problems for Brook. It would be good if it wasn't. But then I also think it's good that Crawford takes him out. And the reason I'll say that is because then it helps build toward the Spence fight. And I think we will get the Spencer fight. And I think then we've got one common opponent. And, that always helps sell a fight. But, yeah. So, no, listen.
If I can just...
yeah, go ahead, of course.
If I can just play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
If he wins, where does that leave the whole Matchroom Eddie saga as well? That's a big if as well. That'll be very interesting.
Yeah.
What if Crawford wins?
No, Brook wins.
If Brook wins, I think Eddie Hearn's gonna have a big egg on his face, but ultimately Eddie's gonna be like, look, there will be champions. Matchroom's still gonna be here when Kel retires. So that's how he's gonna have that attitude.
I do think though, and just to your point now, I think if Brook was to win, I think that's a massive. I don't care that. I'm going to say upset, but I think that might just go down as maybe upset of the year if he was to win.
Bro, if he does that and retires,
he will never retire because there's the money in it. But again, to your point though, Dave, is that this fight has got a rematch clause, and the Lomachenko Teofimo Lopez didn't. So what you make of that? You make of that what you will. But I find that quite interesting. That this fight has a rematch clause.
For a Spanish in the work there, okay. If that happens, we're doing a live special on Sunday and I'm getting everybody on to talk about this because we all can't be wrong.
No worries. Listen, Dave, thank you very much. Listen, look forward to catching up next week. My delivery has been delivered today, so we'll be speaking soon.
Good stuff. You take care.
Take care. Cheers, man. Take care. Bye. So
Heffron Bentley, what are we saying? Bentley's coming on soon. I'm going to get him on the show soon, but I think Bentley's going to win. I
mean, look, they're heading up a big card. I'll say a big card, but a lot of the guys are just getting the opponents last minute. But Mark Heffron versus Denzel Bentley. Bro, I've got to kind of agree with Dave there in terms of Bentley for the win. I think it will be a tough fight. I think he just showed that he's got more in his locker. I don't know what happened, whether he just got a bit too excited, but when he landed that big shot, he then just started doing a weird, awkward style. Whether that's
going into the corners, bro. Going into the corners. That's when he wasn't effective. He was in an awkward movement and just throwing a 1-2 left and then right, then 1-2 right. That's what he was really catching him. I just thought
he should have stopped it.
Yeah, but he just did. I don't know what. Maybe his corner. Maybe he was injured. We don't know. Maybe there was something that wasn't feeling right with him. But hopefully, he's seeing through. This is one of your boys, Ghanaian boys, so we can get him on. We can get him on the show next week to catch up. But good luck to him. And
100%. Last one before we go, bro. So these two, Fury versus Wilder, the saga continues. Fury done an interview this morning with, I think, Good Morning Britain on one of the ITV channels, and said he thinks Wilder is losing his marbles, willing to have a conversation with him. And then it's been reported that, like I said, Wilder, his team are now looking for a mediator to kind of look and resolving this third fight. What makes me laugh, bro, I'm going to say it, and again, I like Wilder, but I just find it funny. Is like, again, whoever's advising him, because I know he's gone a bit rogue, it's like, surely you must realize how this looks. Like, you were silent throughout the whole time when the dates were being thrown around. Even though there was Corona, we were bare silent. And now they've said, nope, sorry, we've moved on. We've found a loophole. We can do that. You're like, no. Bro, it's madness.
All I'm saying is, everyone that said Joshua fanboys and Joshua scared to fight Wilder, listen, in his array of tweets, he actually said, I had big money to fight you, but I stepped it aside to honor my agreement or whatever.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm still saying now, Anthony Joshua undefeated and Wilder undefeated would have been one of the biggest heavyweight bouts of all time.
Exactly. Bro, but the thing is, I think you got to look at it. They're both in different places now because they've both held an L. Whether we want to admit it or not, like the circumstances, they've both held an L. And I think you got to look at the timeline. So whilst, yes, Eddie Hearn was quick and he's very clever, you know, that's why he's relentless. It was very clever to jump on that tweet and say, I thought we ducked you. I think you've got to look at the timeline and say, well, Eddie Hearn's referring to that DAZN meeting where the money wasn't right on the table. It was $100 million fight for 3 fights. And he wanted Joshua. Like, so in that sense, yes, he did stick with Fury. He probably should have gone to Joshua, but XYZ. I think forgetting all the politics now, I think it's still a big fight. I just think Wilder, he can't even think about any of that until he just, like I keep saying, learn to accept this defeat, take this loss, and show that you're working to improve the things that need to be improved. Yeah. Otherwise, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Remember when I said back in, look, I'll get the clip back up. I remember it's not a bad thing for Wilder to take step aside money.
Yeah.
I think he just needs to keep it hush hush, stay quiet, take your step aside money, regroup, get the winner of Joshua Fury, then your name's again. Slowly but surely, people are gonna not forget that he lost, but they're not gonna think about it as much, knowing that's gone in the way, you know.
And then when one of them loses as well, like it makes it more intriguing. So okay, like if Joshua, because I agree with you, bro. If Joshua, if he had taken that step aside money, worked on training, had the surgery on his shoulder, you know, focused on his fundamentals, tactics, training, technique, and then let Joshua and Fury have their fight over the course of 12 months. You know, they have one fight, and then the second one, if it's not 1-1 or 2, if it's 2-0, they move on. The perfect scenario would be he lets those two fight, Joshua wins the 2 of them, and then he fights Joshua. And then it's like he's lost to Fury, Joshua's beat Fury, but Joshua's also shown vulnerabilities with his loss to Ruiz.
Yeah.
And like with one guy you don't want to take a hit off, I don't care what anyone says, is Deontay Wilder. So,
bro, crazy.
Ego. But anyways,
man.
Tuning in, appreciate everyone calling, appreciate that support as well. Jay's been even put any of the tickers down today, so don't forget you can like the video, share our page, and subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. You know all that social media stuff. Subscribe. I should have said it in the first 5 minutes. Next week, that's Sam's job. Every 5 minutes, Sam's got to be like, hit that subscribe button. But guys, we're gonna be out. Sam, do you want to shout out your socials before we head out?
Listen, big shout out to socials, SD Raps on TV, and before we go, on a little lighter note, which I should have mentioned before, gonna put up our story. A company called QR Unit. They look after a number of boxers and do a lot of their kind of hyperbolic chambers, and they do it for a number of boxers. They're in need of some GoFundMe. They've got a GoFundMe link. They're in need of some help due to this COVID. If we'll put the link in our bio, and if you could guys donate whatever you can, that would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, like, share, and subscribe, and look on the swipe up link.
No worries. Appreciate that. So people, we're out. Peace.